Hi everybody, this is MaDonna from Mad V's Quilt and Sew, and it is Monday, so it is time for us to be working on our quilt, and we're using the Alex Anderson book. And if you're just joining me for the first time today, this is Alex Anderson's Start Quilting book. It's actually the second edition one, which we're working out of, and mainly what's changed is some of the coloring on the quilts. So I have chosen to do a sew along with you, and in this sew along, and I shouldn't say sew along, I'm just giving you some pointers and tips on how to sew some different blocks. I happen to be working towards a variation type of quilt. It looks like, I was one page too far. It looks like this. It's a sampler quilt. So we have got some 9 patches, flying geese, star blocks, rail fence. So it's got some different blocks in it so that way you can learn different things. Today's block that we're going to be working on is a 9 patch. And it's a very traditional block. It can be done to use like in an Irish chain quilt and many different things. So we're going to be piecing, and in the first set of instructions in the book, it does it by doing strip piecing, which that construction is where you're going to sew 3 sets of strips together and then you're going to subcut them. In the instructions for this particular block, because we don't need as many sets, we actually are only needing to construct, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 do I see? 6 of them. Oh, I can probably turn the page and it'll tell me how many. I need 3 of each one, so no, it doesn't tell me. I need 3. Oh, I only need 4 of them, so that's easy. So I just need 4 of them, and they're going to be going right across the row here. So it's these 4 blocks right here that we're going to be constructing, and I actually have a little bit of fabric extra to be able to cut a couple more. So if we want to, we can make this a little bit larger. So again, this is the 9 patch block that we're going to be cutting, and the instructions for this has us doing it as individual blocks being put together into the 9 patch. I like that method because it keeps things a little bit more accurate, and you get to work on your 1/4 inch more, and we all need help with our 1/4 inch. So what it has us do is cut 5 red squares and 4 light neutral squares. So I have picked out fabrics, and mine don't fit all the colorizations that they said. So you may see things that are slightly different in my colors. So from this one, I actually have 4 reds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have 5 of the light color. Four reds, and then you can kind of see that my tic-tac-toe board is going to go just like so. Now, I have worked with this piece of fabric several times, and you may notice that it's actually directional. And that the only reason I know is I've worked with it several times. So I do get to choose which way I want the direction to be. So do I want my points going up and down, or do I want them to go horizontal? And so if I look right now, those are actually mirror of each other. I can turn that around and turn this around and see now how that dark piece is on the outside every time. And that's if I'm going to be fussy and worry about it. But that's my 9 patch block. So when I piece this, I am going to take this piece here and attach it, here and attach it, and here and attach it in a set that we call chain piecing. And how chain piecing works is we're going to continue to sew and sew and sew. So I'm going to grab my set here, put them together, right sides together. I'm going to line them up very nicely. I'm going to put them underneath my sewing machine, and I'm going to make sure that I have engaged the needle down positioning on here. I'm going to put this underneath. I'm going to put my finger onto my threads to get started, engage the needle down position. I'm going to move my sewing presser foot underneath my foot control underneath my machine, and I'm going to go. When I stitch this, I slow and steady, not as slow as I was sewing the other day, but slow and steady. And one is done. It's all the way through. It's actually sitting just past the needle by about 1/4 inch. And most 1/4 inch feet do have that other marking there. Then I'm going to grab my next set of 2, put them face together, come right up underneath there. I am going to lift my presser foot just a little bit set this underneath, and this is a seam tape that actually has a 1/4 inch mark on it, which I really like to work with. It just has a nice little bit of slick to it, and I can line up my whole piece all the way down, which is really nice to be able to line that up. So I can line up my whole piece of fabric, and I'm doing what's called chain piecing. So I air sewed a couple stitches there, and now I'm just going to continue to sew these two.
By air sew, do you mean there's no fabric in there?
Correct. Okay, so watch. I'm at a 1/4 inch, and there was no fabric underneath that spot there. See, there's nothing there. But there's stitches there. I'm going to set this back down, grab my next two, and I didn't cut that apart. I'm going to put these two together. I'm going to lift up my foot, line up my 1/4 inch, and continue to sew.
You got a hello from Iowa.
Hello, Iowa. Okay, and once again, I continued to sew, so my fabric was just past that 1/4 inch there. So now I'm going to pick up my foot. I'm going to get my needle out of my way. I'm going to come over to the side here, and I'm going to use my thread cutter to cut the threads. In between here, you can see that there's actually like a twist there. And that twist is going to give us the ability for things to stay together much nicer for us. Can you see it there, Deanna? Mm-hmm. Okay, so my friend Mara Lee, who's in class today, has lent me her thread cutter. I do own one, and I love it. That's why I was able to show her this morning. It is great for chain piecing. You're going to pick up your pieces, you're going to put it on top of there, and cut. And cut. And cut off this long goober thread. Now, I want you to notice that I did not take off every little bitty hair of these. I like leaving a little bit of thread in between. That little thread helps to keep the fabrics together so they don't pull apart when I put them to the next piece. Okay, so next I'm going to lay these back out in the order they belong, that they live. Okay, so they're all in their regular home. I'm going to then pop them open. Oh, did I do this wrong? How do I have two blues together?
And then we go in the middle.
No. It should be an A-B pattern. Oh yeah, maybe it is. Maybe I'm just drinking too much. Yes, Debbie's lending me her seam ripper. Oh, this is in the wrong. No, it's still not right, is it? But I do. Here, outside, outside. Yeah, it's right. No.
That's how you had them laid out before.
It's not just you guys, it's me too. Sometimes I just wonder. The two should be out here. 1, 2. 1, 2. There we go. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, why can't I get this right today? Blue, red, blue. Blue, red, blue. Blue. I got two blues together. Somehow I laid this out incorrectly. Deb, where's your seam ripper? I do need it.
It's right here.
Oh, thank you. I don't know how I put two blues together, but I did.
It's a good lesson in placement.
That's right. Exactly, because I've been hanging out with these girls too long. Okay. Try this again. This gets folded up here. This got folded up there. This got folded up there. I don't know. I grabbed two blue ones somehow. But you can see how nicely these seam rippers work. So there's my plug for today. This is a Clover seam ripper. And the cool thing about seam rippers are that you need a new one. Okay? Every year at Christmas, it should be on your Christmas list. They run between $1.95 and $15, depending on which kind you like. And it is so worth it to get a new one. If you take lots of classes, you might even need two during the year. One of my students right now is chuckling in the background, and she's saying she buys them by the gross because she can never find them. And the sad part is that I can totally relate to that. I've even tried the ones that are on the chain around your neck, and then you're like hitting it on the cabinet and you still don't know where it's at. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this long goober here. So now I've got this in the right order, hopefully. Okay, there we go. Wow. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to go and press. I always want to press to the dark, which means I'm going to press under the red, under the red, under the red. Okay, so that's what pressing under the dark means. I'm going to take these all to the sewing machine, and they're virtually all the same pieces. You just need to make sure that you're always pressing to the dark. We're going to head to the ironing board, Deanna. So, I think we talked about this a little bit last time, is that we want to set our seam. So by doing that, all we're going to do is take our iron and just give it a little push on top. And it'll push on top. We're going to then open this up. And we're just going to use our fingers to give it a little bit of press first, and then press. Fingers. And a little bit of a press, and then we set it in. Fingers and a little bit of a press, and we set it in. That's done. Okay, we're going to go back and we're going to now put these to our other piece. Let's see if I can put them back in the right places. Oh, Shazam, I could do it this day. I'm going to now attach these to each one of these. And again, I'm going to chain piece. So I'm going to put my pieces up nicely together. I'm going to make sure I've got both of my threads. I'm going to set this under my machine and sew it my 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to sew just past the fabric, so I'm air sewing. There were about 4 stitches there. Go ahead and do the same thing. Put this up and underneath there. And the last one. I'm going to use Marilee's thread cutter. And here, you guys have to remember you're going to do show and tell in a minute. Okay, so now I have 3 sets. 1, 2, 3. 3? No.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. I thought the red was in the center. Okay, so now I'm going to press again to the red. Okay, so this one wants to be going that direction. I want to make sure I press to the red though. And they're looking a little rectangular, but they're right. So give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back there.
Trying to think if I can put the train catcher fabric on the back.
Oh, that'd be pretty on the back.
And then I have the pink one I'm making too.
Okay. We're going to flip this over. And now I'm going to do what's called nesting my seams. So I'm going to look at this really close, and I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to put one just right inside of the other one. So when I take my fingers across it, I shouldn't feel a lump to it. At this point in time, you can put a pin right in before that. That way you've made sure that this stayed in place as you got there. I am not the person who likes to pin right at that juncture, because then I feel as I'm pulling my pin out, I'm moving the 2 things apart and they're not sitting together. I also look to make sure that this edge here, this outside edge, is nice and square, because it's easy to just pull that off a little bit, and then when you open it up, it's not going to lay real flat for you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to nest these 2 together and sew them. Now, once I get right to my seam, okay, I'm right where those 2 nested together, I'm going to make sure that my next two nest together. So sometimes it's a little bit of push in or a little bit of pull out to make sure that they work. The biggest thing to remember is that your feed dogs are always going to be pulling it. So you don't want to do too much distortion on it, but you want to make sure that they are too, again, has that same feel to them. So I'm going to go ahead and continue sewing. So right off, give myself a couple of air stitches, pick it up, pull it over to the side, and now I'm going to take a peek. And it should be just like magic. Look at how nice those points go together. Okay, I'm going to attach my last unit to it. Finger smush them together again so that they're nice and square. Make sure that our edge up here is nice and square. I've been known to put a pin in this outside edge here just to keep them really square, especially when you're working with lots and lots of pieces. And I don't pin very often, so it's a rarity. I'm at my seam, needle down. I'm going to make sure that these are all fitting together really nicely. And Shazam! We have got our first 9-patch block. All those points look really nice. So now I have two options. One of them is to press them so that they go to one side, or the other one is to press them open. Lately, when I'm done with a block, especially a block like this, I have been pressing them open, and we have a tool, and I see it from here, I think. I have a seam stick, and we can actually use that, and I'll show you how it works to be able to press these open. I forgot about that, Deanna. I saw it here earlier today. Let's not worry about it. I'll just do it without. I'll show it next week. As soon as I say that, then they'll find it, but you know who that is. Okay. So, you want to come on over? It's my wood. Oh, it's right there on the windowsill above Dabby's hut. All right. I see it now.
Oh God. I was gonna say toss it.
I was gonna say I've got my clapper in the car.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty fun too. Okay, so this is called, and I call it the wrong thing, it's called a strip stick. They come in 3 different lengths. I have 2 of the lengths. I have the shortest one and the longest one, but many of our customers have the medium-sized one. You just have to figure out what works for you. I like the shorty because I can take it to class. I put it down on my ironing board. It has a rounded edge and it has a flat edge. It goes with the rounded edge up. When I want to press things open, I lay this across the top of it, and then I just finger press it first to open, and then I set my iron right on that. And what it does is it prevents the seams underneath from being moved. And I press, I mean, I'm putting some good pressure on there, and you can see how super flat that makes that. It really helps it to lay very nicely. And you don't wind up with a lot of bulk underneath one side or the other. So again, I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to finger press it open. And now I'm going to take my iron and just go right along that edge.
So if you don't have one of those sticks, you have to keep holding the seam open
Correct.
as you go,
You're going
right?
to have to work it as you're doing it. So, or you can press to one side. Just like we press to the one side on the rest of it, you can press to one side, or you can press them open. Pressing open has become much more common. If it's a quilt that's a utility quilt, so that's a quilt that's going to go in the washer all the time, I don't advocate pressing open. If it's something that has a lot of pieces to it, pressing open is going to reduce some of the bulks in the juncture points there, so it doesn't feel quite so lumpy on you. Okay, once I've done all of my pressing open, I'm going to turn it back to the top and just give it one more quick press, And Deanna, look at my points today. It looks like I knew what I was doing. So that's what I have for today. That's the block that we're working on this time. I'm going to do a quick little scan of the room because we have some really cute 3-yard quilts today. So this one here is really cute in the blues and elephants with some leaves in it. If you've not tried a 3-yard quilt, they're awesome. The one that Audrey's holding up is the same pattern, just different fabrics. Okay, and then behind us on the wall here, we have this super, we have the little piggies. Isn't that so cute?
Oh my
gosh. The little piggies are adorable.
So cute.
What great baby quilts these are. So they take 3 1-yard cuts of fabric. And is this row done? Look at this one. Look at how pretty this is. Real soft and sweet. So that one's just about done. And this one up here is the flowers. This is actually, oh, she's got her other row. We're still on, but we're going to put your other row up to show it. Because this is looking so beautiful. So this was actually a piece of fabric that actually went from light to dark. And we just figured out how to lay it out so that we could use the fabric kind of still in its same original context, being lighter and getting darker as it goes down the quilt. And I think it really did a nice job. Nice piecing on this. Thank you. So these are this is from Quick as a Wink 3-yard quilt book. 3 1-yard cuts of fabric get you the quilt top and borders, and then you need your own fabric to do the backing and binding with. But they're really fun to work with. So that's what I have for today, everybody.
What's that on?
What's that?
What's that on?
Oh, our new design board?
Yeah.
We have not ordered those for customers. Actually, I'm not sure if we're going to carry them or not. But yes, we've got it on a really fun design board here today. So 3 1-yard quilts. I will see you next week on Monday, somewhere about the same time. Have a great week, and we will talk soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.